Have you ever felt that uncomfortable sensation of being dispensable? Perhaps it was when an app solved in seconds a problem that would take hours of your time, or when you discovered that an artificial intelligence can write texts, create art, or even diagnose diseases better than many professionals. This feeling isn't paranoia, it's intuition. Your brain is picking up something your rational mind still resists accepting. We are entering the era of mass human dispensability, and this is happening much faster than any previous revolution in human history. Millions of people around the world are beginning to realize that their skills, their jobs, their contributions to society may simply no longer be necessary. And what's most disturbing is that unlike past revolutions that created new types of work while destroying others, this revolution may simply not need human replacements. When we look at the history of technological transformations, we always find the same comforting pattern. Schumpeter's creative destruction in action. The Industrial Revolution eliminated manual artisanal work, but created factories that needed workers. Automation eliminated many factory jobs, but created the need for technicians, engineers, and service professionals. Each technological revolution destroyed one type of work, but created others. It was like a cosmic dance where humanity always found a new role to play in the transforming economy. This pattern gave us a false sense of security. The belief that there will always be something for humans to do. Always a way to keep ourselves relevant and necessary. But the artificial intelligence revolution is fundamentally different from all previous ones. And the difference lies in a characteristic that never before existed in the history of technology. The ability to mimic and surpass human cognition in a generalized way. For the first time, we are not creating tools that amplify our physical capacities or that follow rigid algorithms programmed by us. We are creating entities that can learn, adapt, create, and even demonstrate something resembling intuition. And they are doing this not just in specific tasks, but across increasingly broad domains of human knowledge and creativity. Consider what happened to the radiology profession. For decades, radiologists represented the epitome of highly specialized medical expertise. They were professionals who spent years learning to identify subtle patterns in medical images, developing a trained eye that combined technical knowledge with clinical intuition. Today, artificial intelligence systems can detect certain types of cancer in radiological images with accuracy superior to the best human specialists. And this is not an isolated achievement. AI systems are surpassing humans in dermatological diagnosis, pathological analysis, and even in robotic surgeries. What took decades for a doctor to develop can be replicated and surpassed by a machine in months of training. But medicine is just the tip of the iceberg. Lawyers discover that algorithms can analyze contracts and legal precedents faster and with fewer errors. Journalists see their articles being written by automated systems. Teachers watch their classes being replaced by personalized artificial intelligence tutors. Artists contemplate works created by neural networks that rival in creativity and technique. Even psychologists and therapists are seeing the emergence of therapeutic chatbots that many users consider more empathetic and available than human professionals. The speed of this transformation is dizzying. We are talking about changes that traditionally would take generations happening in a matter of years or even months. And unlike previous revolutions, this one is not creating massive new categories of human work. It is simply eliminating the need for human intermediaries in a growing number of cognitive tasks. It's as if humanity had spent millions of years developing its intellectual capacities only to discover that a superior form of intelligence can be artificially created and infinitely replicated. What makes this situation even more disconcerting is that the replacement is not happening at the edges of society, starting with the least skilled jobs. It is happening simultaneously at all levels of the professional hierarchy. Truck drivers and surgeons, accountants and artists, all are seeing their functions being automated or enhanced in ways that question their fundamental necessity. This breaks our traditional narrative about education and training as protection against obsolescence. We always believed that the more education, the more job security. But now we discover that precisely the most cognitive and creative jobs, those that require years of education, may be the most vulnerable to intelligent automation. Think of the irony. We spent centuries building educational systems based on the premise that knowledge and cognitive skills are humanity's greatest treasure, the guarantee of relevance and value in society. We created universities, developed increasingly refined specializations, built entire careers based on human expertise. And now we discover that all these intellectual achievements can be replicated, improved, and distributed by artificial systems that don't need salaries, vacations, health insurance, or emotional recognition. But perhaps the most disturbing question is not whether we will be replaced, but whether we really need to be. For millennia, humanity operated under the premise that our existence had an inherent purpose, that we were necessary for the functioning of the universe, at least our small corner of it. We worked, created, solved problems, took care of each other. Our identity was intrinsically linked to our usefulness. We are what we do, we thought. But what if we don't need to do anything? What if society can function perfectly without our active contribution? This is not just an economic question, it's existential. We are facing the real possibility of becoming an economically irrelevant species on our own planet. And this raises questions that go far beyond employment and income. If we don't need to work, what is the purpose of education? If we don't need to solve problems, where do we find meaning? If we don't need to create, what defines us as humans? We are walking toward a future where humanity may become a kind of retired species, maintained by automated systems, but without a clear function in the world it created. And here we arrive at a crucial fork in human history. On one hand, we can see this transformation as liberation. Imagine a world where no one needs to work at jobs they hate, where everyone has access to the best artificial doctors, teachers, and counselors, where creativity and human relationships become the only focus of existence. A world where we can finally dedicate ourselves to what really matters: deep connections, philosophical exploration, art for art's sake, love, contemplation. It would be the realization of every society's utopian dream: freedom from necessity. On the other hand, this same transformation may represent the end of everything we understand about human purpose and dignity, without the need to contribute, without the satisfaction of work well done, without the sense of being useful and valued. Many humans may find themselves lost in an existential void. Depression and anxiety are already epidemics in prosperous societies where many people feel their lives have no real meaning. Imagine this amplified for an entire species that discovered itself to be fundamentally unnecessary. Some will say we will always find new functions, that human creativity is infinite, that there will always be something only humans can do. But this belief may just be our anthropocentrism talking. It may be that we are desperately clinging to the idea of our own necessity because we cannot imagine an existence without it. Perhaps it's time to seriously consider that for the first time in history, a species has created something that can function independently of it. Which brings me back to the question you feel echoing in your mind when you wake up in the middle of the night. Do they really need you, your company, your society, perhaps even your family? How long will it take until an artificial system can do everything you do, only better, faster, and without complaints? And when that moment comes, not just for you, but for billions of people simultaneously, what kind of world will we be creating? This is not a distant or theoretical question. It is happening now, around you, at an accelerated pace. Each passing day, one more human function becomes automatable, one more expertise becomes replicable, and unlike previous revolutions that took generations to complete, this one may transform human civilization in a matter of decades. I want to pause for a moment to ask you directly, have you ever felt like you're competing with a machine for your own value? That feeling that you need to constantly prove you're still necessary, that you still have something unique to offer? I know we often keep these concerns to ourselves, perhaps for fear of seeming paranoid or insecure. But your concerns are valid and shared by millions of people. If this fear resonates with you, share your experience in the comments. It can be as simple as writing, "I feel like I'm competing with technology," when your honesty can help others realize they are not alone in this existential anxiety that defines our era. Perhaps the question is not whether we will be replaced, but how we will redefine what it means to be human in an age when our traditional utility is disappearing. Throughout history, humanity has defined itself by what it could do, by the